When book editor Nia Wallace attended a charity gala with her cousin, she never expected to come face to face with Sébastien Leclerc, the billionaire tech mogul she'd secretly married 2 years ago before walking away in fear. After watching wealthy socialites mock her simple dress and humble background, Sébastien shocked everyone by publicly claiming her as his wife, igniting a media firestorm that forced them both back into the spotlight. Now Nia must navigate the treacherous world of wealth and privilege while confronting the love she'd tried so hard to leave behind. This is a story about second chances, finding your place in a world that doesn't accept you, and discovering that sometimes the greatest risk is opening your heart again. Before we start this story, comment below from where you're watching us. Nia Wallace looked at her reflection in the mirror and sighed. The simple black dress she wore wasn't fancy enough for the charity gala her cousin Desiree had dragged her to, but it was the best she had. At 27, Nia had learned to make do with what she had, a lesson her grandmother had taught her growing up in their small southern town. "Nia, hurry up," Desiree called from outside the bathroom. "The limo's waiting and I don't want to be late." Nia opened the door and stepped out. Her cousin, dressed in a sparkly red gown that probably cost more than Nia's rent, looked her up and down. "That's what you're wearing?" Desiree asked, frowning. "It's all I have," Nia said quietly. Desiree sighed. "Well, I guess it'll have to do. Come on." The drive to the gala was filled with Desiree's excited chatter about all the important people who would be there. Nia just nodded and looked out the window. She never wanted to come to this event in the first place. But Desiree had insisted after Nia helped ghostwrite a best-selling memoir for one of Desiree's famous friends. "You need to get out more," Desiree had said. "Meet people, make connections. You can't hide behind your books forever." The limo pulled up to a grand hotel. Nia's stomach tightened as she saw the crowd of wealthy, well-dressed people entering the building. "Remember," Desiree said as they stepped out of the car, "just smile and be yourself. These people might look important, but they put their pants on one leg at a time just like everybody else." Nia nodded, but she knew better. These weren't her people. They never would be. Inside, the ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and expensive decorations. Women in designer gowns and men in tailored tuxedos mingled, laughing and drinking champagne. Nia felt every pair of eyes turn to look at her as she entered. "I need to find Martin," Desiree said, spotting her husband across the room. "Will you be okay for a minute?" Before Nia could answer, Desiree was gone, weaving through the crowd. Nia stood alone, clutching her small purse like a shield. She tried to look confident, but she could feel the judgment coming from all directions. A waiter passed by with a tray of champagne. Nia took a glass, hoping it would calm her nerves. "That dress is from last season, isn't it?" a woman nearby whispered to her friend, just loud enough for Nia to hear. "If it's even designer at all," the friend replied with a snicker. "Who let the help in through the front?" Nia pretended not to hear, but her cheeks burned with humiliation. She turned away, looking for somewhere to hide, when a deep voice called her name. "Nia!" The voice was calm, commanding, familiar in a way that made her heart stop. She turned slowly, already knowing who she would see. Sébastien Leclerc stood just a few feet away, tall, handsome, and impossibly elegant in his perfectly tailored tuxedo. His dark eyes locked with hers, and for a moment, the rest of the room disappeared. 2 years. It had been 2 years since she'd seen him. 2 years since they stood in that small courthouse in New Orleans on a rainy Tuesday morning and said, "I do." 2 years since she'd discovered that the man she knew as Bash, the traveling architect who loved simple things, was actually Sébastien Leclerc, billionaire tech mogul and son of a French oil heiress and a Haitian diplomat. 2 years since she'd walked away, afraid of losing herself in his world of wealth and privilege. The room seemed to go silent as Sébastien crossed the space between them. Every eye watched as he approached her, curious about who had caught the attention of the most powerful man in the room. "Hello, Bash," she said softly, using the nickname only she had ever called him. A small smile touched his lips. "It's good to see you." Before she could respond, the 2 women who had been mocking her earlier approached, their faces now transformed into eager smiles. "Sébastien," one of them gushed. "We didn't know you were coming tonight." "Margaret," he acknowledged coolly. "Claire, I see you've met my wife." The words hung in the air. Nia's eyes widened. Wife. He had called her his wife, in front of everyone. Margaret and Claire froze, their mouths hanging open in shock. "Your wife?" Claire stammered. Sébastien placed his hand gently on the small of Nia's back. "Yes." Nia and I have been married for 2 years now. We've kept it private, but I think it's time everyone knew." A murmur swept through the ballroom. Phones appeared as people began texting and taking pictures. Nia stood frozen, unable to believe what was happening. "Sebastian," she whispered urgently, "what are you doing?" But before he could answer, they were surrounded. People who had ignored Nia moments earlier now pressed forward, eager to meet the mysterious woman who had captured Sebastian Leclerc. "I had no idea you were married. Where did you two meet? Why keep it a secret?" The questions came from all directions. Sebastian handled them smoothly, his arm remaining firmly around Nia's waist, keeping her close as if afraid she might disappear again. Across the room, Desiree stood with her husband, her mouth open in shock as she watched her cousin being claimed as the wife of one of the richest men in America. "Let's get some air," Sebastian said to Nia after several minutes of this. Without waiting for her response, he guided her toward the doors that led to the garden terrace. Outside, the night air was cool and quiet. Stars twinkled above them, so different from the artificial sparkle of the ballroom. Sebastian led Nia to a secluded corner where a stone bench sat beneath a flowering tree. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice gentle now that they were alone. Nia turned to face him, anger and confusion warring inside her. "Am I okay? You just told everyone in there that I'm your wife." "You are my wife," he said simply. "Bash, we agreed to an annulment." "No," he corrected her. "You wanted an annulment. I agreed to give you time. But the papers were never filed, Nia. We're still married." Nia felt like the ground was shifting beneath her feet. "Why would you announce it like that? In front of all those people?" Sebastian's face hardened slightly. "Because I watched them looking down on you, mocking you. And I couldn't stand it." "So this was about your pride?" Nia demanded. "You couldn't bear to see your secret wife being laughed at, so you had to step in and rescue her?" "This isn't about pride," Sebastian said, his voice low and intense. "It's about respect. You deserve respect, Nia, whether you're my wife or not." Nia laughed bitterly. "And now they'll respect me because I'm Mrs. Sebastian Leclerc? That's exactly why I left Bash. I don't want to be defined by who I'm married to." Sebastian ran a hand through his dark hair, a gesture Nia remembered so well. "That's not what I want either. I want them to see you for who you are. Brilliant, kind, strong. But they weren't giving you that chance. So, you thought announcing our marriage would help. Now all they'll see is your wife, the nobody who somehow caught a billionaire." "Is that what you think?" Sebastian asked, hurt flashing in his eyes. "That you're a nobody, that I see you that way." "It doesn't matter how you see me," Nia said, wrapping her arms around herself. "It's how the world sees me now. I came here tonight as Nia Wallace, editor. Now I'm just Sebastian Leclerc's mysterious wife." Sebastian stepped closer, his eyes intense. "You have never been just anything, Nia. Not to me." The sincerity in his voice made her heart ache. For a moment, she was back in that small apartment in New Orleans where they had first fallen in love, before she knew who he really was, when he was just Bash, and she was just Nia, and nothing else mattered. "I need to go," she said, turning away before he could see the tears forming in her eyes. "Nia, please." "No," she cut him off. "You don't get to do this, Bash. You don't get to waltz back into my life after 2 years and turn everything upside down." "I never left your life," he said softly. "You left mine." The truth of his words stung. She had been the one to walk away when she discovered his true identity. She had been the one to suggest an annulment. She had been the one too afraid to love him once she knew the truth. "I did what I had to do," she said quietly. "And I'm doing what I have to do now," Sebastian replied. "I've respected your wishes for 2 years, Nia. I've kept our marriage private. I've watched you from a distance, making your own way. But tonight, seeing you in that room, being treated like you were less than every person there," his voice hardened. "I couldn't stay silent anymore." The sound of the ballroom doors opening interrupted them. A group of guests spilled out onto the terrace, laughing and talking loudly. Several heads turned in their direction, eager for a glimpse of the newly revealed couple. "We can't talk here," Sebastian said, taking Nia's hand. "Come with me." Against her better judgment, Nia allowed him to lead her down a path that wound through the garden to a side entrance of the hotel. A sleek black car waited there, with a driver standing at attention. "Mr. Leclerc," the driver said with a nod. "James," Sebastian replied. "Change of plans. We're leaving now." The driver opened the door, and Sebastian turned to Nia. "Please, just give me an hour to explain." Nia hesitated. Every instinct told her to run back inside, find Desiree and go home. but the thought of facing all those people again, with their questions and curious stares, was unbearable. 1 hour, she agreed, sliding into the car. Sebastian followed, sitting beside her but careful to maintain space between them. As the car pulled away from the hotel, Naya stared out the window, trying to process everything that had happened. "Where are we going?" she asked, noticing they were heading toward the harbor. "My apartment," Sebastian answered. "It's private, we can talk without interruptions." Naya tensed. "I'm not sure that's a good idea." Sebastian looked at her, his expression solemn. "I promise, Naya. Just talk. Then I'll take you wherever you want to go." The car turned onto a tree-lined street of exclusive high-rises overlooking the water. It stopped in front of the most elegant building, where a doorman immediately rushed to open the car door. "Good evening, Mr. Leclerc," he said with a respectful nod. "Evening, Thomas," Sebastian replied as he helped Nia from the car. The lobby was all marble and crystal, with a security desk where another man stood at attention. "Mr. Leclerc," he acknowledged. "George," Sebastian nodded. "This is Mrs. Leclerc. She'll be coming and going freely from now on." Nia shot him a look, but Sebastian's face revealed nothing as he guided her to a private elevator. He inserted a key, and the doors slid open silently. "How you're being presumptuous," Nia said as the elevator began its ascent. "I'm being hopeful," Sebastian corrected. The elevator opened directly into a penthouse apartment. Nia stepped out and caught her breath. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed a stunning view of the city lights and the harbor beyond. The space was beautifully designed, but not ostentatious. Clean lines, comfortable furniture, bookshelves filled with well-read volumes. It felt like him. Like the Bash she had known, not the Sebastian Leclerc the world saw. "Would you like something to drink?" Sebastian asked, moving toward the kitchen. "Water, wine, tea." "Water," Nia said, still taking in the apartment. "This place, it suits you." Sebastian smiled as he filled 2 glasses from a filtered tap. "I bought it after New Orleans. My other properties never felt right after you left." He handed her a glass, and their fingers brushed briefly. Even that small contact sent a shock through Nia's system. "Why didn't you file the annulment papers?" she asked, moving to the windows to look out at the view. Sebastian stood beside her, careful to maintain distance. "At first I was just being stubborn. I thought you'd change your mind once you had time to think. Then, as months passed, I realized keeping the marriage legal was the only connection I had left to you. It was selfish." "Yes, it was," Nia agreed, but there was no anger in her voice now, just weariness. "I hired people to check on you," Sebastian admitted. "Not to interfere, just to make sure you were okay." Nia turned to him, surprised. "You've been spying on me?" "Protecting you," he corrected, "from a distance as you wanted. I knew about the memoir you ghost wrote. I was proud of you, Nia. You've made your own way, just as you wanted to. If you respected my choice to make my own way, why did you announce our marriage tonight? Why now?" Sebastian's expression darkened. "Because I saw how they were treating you. I heard what those women said. I can handle a few catty comments, Bash. You shouldn't have to." His voice was fierce. "Not when I could stop it with a few words." "That's not your job," Naya insisted. "I'm not your responsibility." "Aren't you?" Sebastian challenged. "You're still my wife, Nia. Legal documents aside, you're the woman I promised to cherish and protect. I never asked for your protection." "No," he agreed with a sad smile. "You never asked for anything. That was part of the problem." Nia set down her water glass and moved away from the windows, needing space to think. "What happens now? Everyone at that gala thinks we're married." "We are married. You know what I mean. They think we're together." Sebastian watched her carefully. "Does it matter what they think? It matters that you've dragged me into the spotlight." Nia's frustration bubbled over. "By tomorrow, my name will be all over the internet. Mystery woman revealed as Sebastian Leclerc's secret wife. I'll never have privacy again." "I can protect you from that," Sebastian said. "I have the resources." "That's exactly what I don't want," Nia cut him off. "I don't want to need your protection, your resources, your anything. I want my own life, Bash." "And you can't have your own life as my wife?" The hurt in his voice was unmistakable. Nia closed her eyes, suddenly exhausted. "I don't know. I was afraid I'd disappear if I stayed with you, that I'd become an accessory, a trophy, just Sebastian Leclerc's wife. Nothing else would matter." Sebastian crossed the room to stand in front of her. "Look at me, Nia." Reluctantly, she opened her eyes. "I fell in love with you when you thought I was just a traveling architect with a modest income. When we lived in that tiny apartment and ate takeout sitting on the floor. When you challenged every opinion I had and made me defend my ideas. When you read to me from your favorite books and got angry if I didn't appreciate them properly. His voice grew softer. I never wanted you to be anything other than exactly who you are. The sincerity in his eyes made her heart ache. But your world is so different from mine, Bash. The people, the expectations. My world is wherever you are, he interrupted. The rest is just scenery. A knock at the door broke the moment. Sebastian frowned, clearly annoyed by the interruption. Excuse me, he said, moving to answer it. Nia heard hushed voices. Then Sebastian returned holding a tablet. His expression was grim. What is it? She asked. It's already starting, he said, handing her the tablet. On the screen was a gossip website with the headline, Breaking Billionaire Bachelor Sebastian Leclerc Reveals Secret Wife at Charity Gala. Beneath it was a photo of them from earlier that evening, Sebastian's hand on her back, as he introduced her to the crowd. The caption read, Who is the mystery woman who captured America's most eligible billionaire? Nia felt sick as she scrolled through the article, which speculated wildly about who she was and how they had met. Some comments suggested she must be a gold digger who had trapped him. Others wondered if she was pregnant. None came close to the truth. This is what I was afraid of, she whispered. Sebastian took the tablet from her hands and set it aside. I'll handle it. I'll have my PR team release a statement. No, Nia said firmly. No statements, no PR teams. That just makes it worse. Then what do you want me to do? Sebastian asked, frustration evident in his voice. I can't take back what I said tonight, Nia, and honestly I don't want to. Nia really looked at him for the first time since they'd reunited. Despite his wealth and power, in this moment he seemed vulnerable. The man behind the billionaire facade was still there, her Bash. I don't know what I want you to do, she admitted. I need to think. This is all happening too fast. Sebastian nodded slowly. I understand. I can have James drive you home whenever you're ready. Thank you. Nia moved to the couch and sat down, suddenly aware of how tired she was. Sebastian hesitated, then sat in a chair across from her, giving her space. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for putting you on the spot tonight. I'm not sorry for acknowledging our marriage, but I should have talked to you first. Nia managed a small smile. When did you ever think before acting, Bash? It was always your heart first, head second. Only with you, he admitted. Only ever with you. They sat in silence for a few minutes, the weight of their shared past and uncertain future hanging between them. Finally, Nia spoke. I should go. Desiree is probably worried. Sebastian nodded and stood. I'll call James. As he moved to make the call, Nia's phone buzzed in her purse. She pulled it out to find a barrage of text messages from Desiree. OMG, Nia. Sebastian Leclerc? You're married to Sebastian Leclerc? Call me right now. Followed by, why didn't you tell me? I'm your cousin. Everyone at the gala is talking about you. Martin says Sebastian is worth like 3 billion. And finally, I gave your number to like 5 reporters who asked, hope that's okay. This is so exciting. Nia groaned and dropped the phone back into her purse. Problem? Sebastian asked, returning from making his call. Desiree gave my number to reporters, Nia said flatly. Sebastian's expression darkened. I'll have your number changed immediately, and I'll make it clear to the press that harassing you is not acceptable. There you go again, trying to fix everything, Nia said, but there was no bite to her words now, just resignation. It's what I do, Sebastian said with a small shrug. Fix things. Solve problems. Some problems can't be solved with money and power, Bash. I know, he said softly. The most important one can't. Their eyes met, and for a moment, Nia felt the same connection that had drawn them together from the first day they met. Despite everything that had happened, despite the complications and the fears, that connection remained. James will be here in 5 minutes, Sebastian said, breaking the moment. Can I get you anything else before you go? Nia shook her head, rising from the couch. No, thank you. I just need some time to process all this. Sebastian nodded, understanding in his eyes. Take all the time you need. I've waited 2 years. I can wait longer. As they stood by the elevator, waiting for James to call up, an awkward silence fell between them. I'll handle the press, Sebastian promised, and I'll respect whatever you decide, Nia. If you want the annulment, I won't fight it this time. Nia looked at him, surprised by the offer. Thank you. The elevator arrived, and as the doors opened, Sebastian reached for her hand. But before you decide, he said quietly, remember how it was between us. Before you knew about the money, before all of this, remember us. Nia felt his warm fingers around hers, and memories flooded back. Rainy afternoons in their small apartment, late-night conversations about books and dreams, the simple gold band he had placed on her finger in that courthouse. "I remember," she whispered, gently pulling her hand away as she stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed between them, she saw the hope and fear warring in his eyes, and despite her confusion and anger about the events of the evening, she couldn't deny the truth. She had never stopped loving him. The next morning, Nia woke to the sound of her phone ringing. She had turned it off last night after seeing dozens of calls from unknown numbers, but had powered it back on before falling into an exhausted sleep. Now she grabbed it, expecting to see Desiree's name. Instead, the screen showed Bash. Nia hesitated, then answered. "Hello? Turn on your TV," Sebastian said without preamble. "Channel 8. "I don't have a TV," Nia replied. Her tiny apartment had just enough room for her books and her desk where she worked. "Check your email then. I sent you a link." Nia sighed but reached for her laptop. Opening her email, she found a message from Sebastian with a link to a news website. She clicked it, and a video began to play. It was a morning talk show, and the hosts were discussing the breaking news from the charity gala. "The big story everyone's talking about this morning," said a perky blonde host, "is billionaire tech mogul Sebastian Leclerc's surprise announcement that he's been secretly married for 2 years. "That's right, Kathy," her co-host chimed in. "The 33-year-old founder of SL Tech, who's been on People's Most Eligible Bachelor list 3 years running, dropped the bombshell at last night's Children's Hospital charity gala." The screen showed a grainy cell phone video of Sebastian at the gala, his arm around Nia, saying, "Yes, Nia and I have been married for 2 years now." Sources close to the couple say they met in New Orleans, where Leclerc was working on a project and had a whirlwind romance, the male host continued. "But here's the real question, Tom," the woman interrupted. "Why keep it secret for 2 years? And who exactly is this mystery woman?" The screen changed to show a photo of Nia from her website, where she advertised her editing services. It was a simple, professional headshot. "Nia Wallace, 27, is a freelance book editor from Georgia," the woman read from her notes. "No social media presence to speak of, no previous relationships on record. Seems like she came out of nowhere to capture one of America's most eligible bachelors." "Well, she certainly doesn't look like the typical billionaire's wife," the man commented. "No designer clothes, no fancy jewelry. Maybe that's why they kept it quiet." "Or maybe there's another reason," the woman said with a significant look. "Sources tell us Leclerc's company is about to go public with a multi-billion-dollar IPO next month. Could this sudden marriage announcement be a PR move to make him appear more stable to investors?" Nia slammed her laptop shut, her hands shaking with anger. "Nia, are you still there?" Sebastian's voice came from the phone she'd set aside. She picked it up again. "I saw it. Happy now? They're already speculating about why you'd marry someone like me." "I'm sorry," Sebastian said, and she could hear the genuine regret in his voice. "I didn't think the media would react this quickly or this intensely." "You're Sebastian Leclerc," Nia said bitterly. "Everything you do is news." "I've issued a statement asking for privacy and respect," Sebastian told her. "My security team is monitoring your building, and I've arranged for a private number for you. No one should bother you." "Security team?" Nia stood up and went to her window, pulling back the curtain. Sure enough, a dark SUV was parked across the street, and she could make out the shape of someone sitting inside. "Bash, you can't just put people outside my apartment." "There are already 3 reporters down there," Sebastian said calmly. "They arrived an hour ago. My team is just making sure they don't harass you." Nia let the curtain fall back into place. "This is exactly what I was afraid of. My whole life is being turned upside down." "I know," Sebastian said softly, "and I'm truly sorry. What can I do to help?" Nia ran a hand through her hair, trying to think. "I need to work. I have deadlines. But how am I supposed to focus with all this going on?" "Come stay at my place," Sebastian suggested immediately. "It's secure, private. No one will bother you there." "Bash, just to work," he clarified quickly. "I have plenty of room. You can have your own space. I'll even stay at a hotel if you want." Nia almost laughed at the idea of a billionaire offering to stay at a hotel so she could use his penthouse. "That's not necessary. Think about it," Sebastian said. "The offer stands. In the meantime, I've made some arrangements for you." "What arrangements?" Nia asked suspiciously. As if on cue, there was a knock at her door. Nia approached cautiously and looked through the peephole. A woman in a business suit stood there, holding a large bag. "There's someone at my door," Nia told Sebastian. "That's Maria. She works for me. She's trustworthy." Nia unlocked the door but kept the chain on, opening it just a crack. "Maria?" The woman nodded, her expression professional but kind. "Ms. Wallace, Mr. Leclerc sent me to help with some practical matters. May I come in?" Nia hesitated, then closed the door to remove the chain before opening it fully. "Come in. I'll let you talk to Maria," Sebastian said through the phone. "Call me later if you need anything." "Anything at all, Nia." "Fine," Nia said, ending the call. She turned to Maria, who was still standing just inside the door. "What exactly did Sebastian send you to do?" Maria set her bag down on Nia's small kitchen table. "First, to give you this." She pulled out a new cell phone. "It's a secure line. Only people you approve will have the number. Your old phone number has been disconnected, and your important contacts have been transferred to this one." "He disconnected my phone without asking me?" Nia was incredulous. "It was for your protection," Maria said smoothly. "Your number was leaked to the press. They would have harassed you constantly." Nia couldn't argue with that, especially after seeing Desiree's text about giving her number to reporters. "What else?" "I've brought some groceries," Maria continued, pulling items from her bag. "So you don't have to go out if you don't want to. And Mr. Leclerc thought you might need these." She handed Nia a small box. Inside were business cards with Nia's name and profession, but with a new phone number and email address. "These are for your clients," Maria explained. "The new email has been set up with top-level security, and it will forward all messages from your old account. No interruption to your work." Nia had to admit Sebastian had thought of everything. "Thank you," she said quietly. Maria smiled. "There's one more thing." She pulled out a sealed envelope. "Mr. Leclerc asked me to give you this personally." Nia took the envelope, her name written on the front in Sebastian's distinctive handwriting. "Thank you," she said again. "I'll be going now," Maria said. "But if you need anything, my number is programmed into your new phone under Maria. Day or night, just call." After Maria left, Nia sat at her small kitchen table and opened the envelope. Inside was a letter written in Sebastian's hand. "Nia, I know you're angry and you have every right to be. I acted impulsively last night, thinking only of how it felt to see you again after so long, and how it hurt to hear those people speaking about you that way. I won't apologize for claiming you as my wife, because you are, and I've never stopped being proud of that fact. But I'm sorry for the way it's affecting your life now. I've taken steps to protect your privacy as much as possible, but I know it's not enough. The truth is, nothing I can do will completely shield you from the attention that comes with being connected to me. It's the one problem I can't solve with money or influence. All I can offer is a promise. I will respect whatever decision you make. If you want to move forward with the annulment, I won't stand in your way this time. I'll make sure it's handled quietly and with dignity. But if there's any part of you that remembers what we had, what we could still have, I'm asking you to give us another chance, not for the world to see, but just for us, the way it was in New Orleans, before you knew who I really was, before everything got complicated. I've never stopped loving you, Nia, not for a single day. Bash P.S. The key enclosed is to my private lake house upstate. No one knows about it except James, who can drive you there if you want to get away from the city. It's peaceful, the kind of place where you can think, or write, or just breathe. Nia noticed a small key that had fallen out of the envelope. She picked it up, running her finger over its smooth surface. Memories of New Orleans flooded back, of the first time she met Sebastian at the community center, where she tutored adults working on their GEDs. He had come in claiming to need help with some architectural plans, saying he'd never been good at writing the descriptions required for his permits. She remembered how he'd introduced himself simply as Bash, dressed in worn jeans and a faded t-shirt. How he'd asked her to coffee afterward, his smile shy but hopeful. Their courtship had been simple, beautiful. Walks along the Mississippi, jazz clubs where they danced close in the dim light, cooking together in his small apartment, which she'd believed belonged to a friend. He'd proposed after just 3 months on a rainy evening, as they sat on his balcony watching the storm. No ring, no grand gesture, just a quiet question. "Will you marry me, Nia?" And she had said yes, because in that moment, nothing else mattered but the love between them. The courthouse wedding had been his idea. "Just us," he'd said. "No fuss, no family drama, just you and me and the promises we make." They'd been so happy for those few weeks, until the day she'd found the letter from his lawyer, addressed to Sebastian Leclerc, regarding his overseas investments. She remembered the shock of discovering who he really was, the hurt of realizing he'd lied to her from the beginning, the fear that their entire relationship had been built on deception. "I wanted you to love me for me," he'd explained desperately when she confronted him. "Not for my money or my name. Once I saw you were different, that you might actually care about the real me. I was afraid to tell you the truth, afraid you'd run. And she had run. Straight to the courthouse to file for an annulment. Except she'd never actually filed the papers. She'd kept them in a drawer, telling herself she was just waiting to make sure she was making the right decision. 2 years later, they were still there. And she was still, legally, Mrs. Sebastian Leclerc. The sound of her doorbell jerked Nia from her memories. She tensed, wondering if it was reporters. Cautiously, she approached the door and looked through the peephole. Desiree stood there, bouncing with excitement. Nia sighed and opened the door. "Why aren't you answering your phone?" Desiree demanded, pushing past Nia into the apartment. "I've been calling all morning." "My number was changed," Nia said, closing the door, "because someone gave it to reporters." Desiree had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. "Oh, right, sorry about that. But oh my God, Nia. Sebastian Leclerc. Why didn't you tell me you were married to Sebastian Leclerc?" "It's complicated," Nia said, moving to the kitchen to make coffee. She needed caffeine to deal with her cousin's energy. "Complicated? Girl, what's complicated about being married to one of the richest men in America?" Desiree followed her. "And living in this tiny apartment when you could be in a mansion? That's what's complicated." "Desiree, please," Nia said tiredly. "I don't want to talk about it." "Well, I do." Desiree planted herself at the kitchen table. "I want to know everything. How you met, why you kept it secret, why you're living here instead of with him. Everything." Nia measured coffee grounds, trying to maintain her patience. "We met in New Orleans when I was tutoring at the community center. He didn't tell me who he really was. When I found out, I left. End of story." Desiree's mouth fell open. "You left a billionaire because he didn't tell you he was rich? Most women would consider that a happy surprise." "It wasn't about the money," Nia said, turning on the coffee maker. "It was about the lie, about building a relationship on false pretenses." "So you've been legally married for 2 years but living apart?" Desiree asked, trying to understand. "And last night was the first time you've seen him since New Orleans?" Nia nodded, getting mugs from the cabinet. "And now everyone knows you're his wife." Desiree shook her head in wonder. "Do you have any idea what this means? You're famous now, Nia. People are going to want to know all about you. There'll be interviews, magazine covers." "I don't want any of that," Nia interrupted firmly. "I just want my normal life back." Desiree scoffed. "Normal? Honey, normal is overrated. Do you know what I would give to be in your position?" "It's not a position, Desiree. It's my life." Nia poured coffee for both of them, and it's been turned upside down overnight. "So what are you going to do?" Desiree asked, accepting the mug Nia handed her. "Get back together with him, get an annulment, become one of those celebrity wives who lives apart from her husband but shows up for important events?" "I don't know," Nia admitted, sitting across from her cousin. "I need time to think." Desiree studied her over the rim of her coffee mug. "You still have feelings for him, don't you?" Nia didn't answer, but her silence was confirmation enough. "I knew it," Desiree said triumphantly. "The way you looked at him last night, there's definitely still something there." "It's not that simple," Nia protested. "It could be," Desiree insisted. "If you still love him, and he obviously still loves you, I mean the man announced to the world that you're his wife even after you left him. What's the problem?" "The problem is that his world and mine are completely different," Nia tried to explain. "You saw how those people at the gala looked at me before they knew who I was. That's the world he lives in. But he chose you," Desiree pointed out. "Out of all the women who would kill to be with him, the models, the socialites, the heiresses, he married you. Doesn't that tell you something?" Before Nia could respond, her new phone rang. She glanced at the screen, which showed unknown caller. "I thought this phone was supposed to only accept calls from approved numbers," she muttered, declining the call. Almost immediately it rang again. Same unknown caller. "Maybe it's important," Desiree suggested. Reluctantly, Nia answered. "Hello? Mrs. Leclerc?" A woman's brisk voice came through the speaker. "This is Vivian Parker from Style and Society magazine. We'd love to schedule an exclusive interview with you about your secret marriage to Sebastian Leclerc." Nia's grip tightened on the phone. "How did you get this number?" "That's not important," the woman brushed off the question. "What is important is that everyone wants to know your story. We're prepared to offer a substantial payment for the exclusive—" "I'm not interested," Nia cut her off. "Please don't call this number again." She ended the call and immediately blocked the number. "A magazine wanted to interview you?" Desiree asked excitedly. "Which one?" "Style and Society," Nia said, putting the phone down in disgust. They offered money for my exclusive story. You should do it, Desiree exclaimed. Those magazines pay a fortune for exclusives. I don't want money, Nia said firmly. I want privacy. Well, good luck with that now, Desiree said, taking a sip of her coffee. You're married to Sebastien Leclerc. Privacy is going to be hard to come by. As if to prove her point, Nia's phone rang again. Another unknown number. She declined it without answering. How are they getting this number? She wondered aloud, frustrated. Her phone chimed with a text message. It was from Sebastien. Maria tells me reporters are still finding your new number. We suspect someone at the phone company leaked it. I'm having a completely secure line set up for you. James will deliver it within the hour. Is that him? Desiree asked, trying to peek at Nia's screen. Yes, Nia admitted, typing a quick reply. Thank you. Apparently Style and Society magazine is offering money for my exclusive story. Sebastian's response came almost immediately. Vultures. Don't talk to them. My PR team is preparing a simple statement that you're a private person who wishes to remain out of the spotlight. Nothing more. Is that okay with you? Nia typed back. Yes, thank you. After a moment's hesitation, she added, I got your letter. 3 dots appeared, showing Sebastien was typing. Then, and? Nia stared at that single word, unsure how to respond. Finally, she wrote, I need time to think. Sebastian's reply was swift. Take all the time you need. The lake house is yours whenever you want it. Just let James know. Are you two having a whole conversation while I'm sitting right here? Desiree asked, breaking into Nia's thoughts. Sorry, Nia put the phone down. He's trying to help with the reporter situation. Of course he is, Desiree said with a knowing smile, because he still loves you. Nia didn't respond to that. Instead, she asked, how bad is it out there? The media attention, I mean. Pretty intense, Desiree admitted. You're trending on social media. Everyone's trying to figure out who you are and how you managed to secretly marry one of America's most eligible bachelors. Nia groaned. Great. It'll die down eventually, Desiree assured her. Once they find out you're just a normal person with a normal job. No scandals, no secret past. Thanks a lot, Nia said dryly. You know what I mean? Desiree waved a hand dismissively. You're not exactly tabloid material, which is a good thing, but it means they'll get bored once they realize there's no drama here. Except there was drama, Nia thought. Just not the kind the tabloids would understand. The drama of falling in love with a man who wasn't who he claimed to be. The drama of walking away from the only person who had ever truly seen her because she was afraid of losing herself in his world. The doorbell rang again, interrupting her thoughts. That'll be James with the new phone, Nia said, standing up. But when she opened the door, it wasn't Sebastian's driver standing there. It was a woman in an expensive suit, her hair perfectly styled, her makeup flawless. Behind her stood a photographer with a large camera. Nia Leclerc, the woman asked with a practiced smile. Vivian Parker, Style and Society magazine. Since you wouldn't talk to me on the phone, I thought I'd come in person. Our readers are dying to know about the woman who secretly married Sebastien Leclerc. Before Nia could respond, the photographer raised his camera and began taking pictures. The flash blinded her momentarily. Get out, Nia said firmly, raising a hand to block the camera. You're trespassing. Just a few questions, Vivian pressed, trying to keep the door from closing. How did you meet? Why keep the marriage secret? Are you living apart? I said get out. Nia tried to push the door closed, but the reporter had wedged her foot in the doorway. Suddenly a large figure appeared behind the reporter. It was one of the security men Sebastien had sent. Is there a problem, Mrs. Leclerc? He asked, his deep voice calm but authoritative. The reporter turned, startled by the man's presence. These people were just leaving, Nia said, grateful for the intervention. I'll escort them out, the security man said, placing a firm hand on the photographer's shoulder. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to remove your foot from the door. Vivian hesitated, then reluctantly stepped back. This isn't over, she said to Nia. The public has a right to know about you. The public has no rights when it comes to my private life, Nia replied, then closed and locked the door. She turned to find Desiree standing in the hallway, eyes wide with excitement. Oh my God, that was just like a movie. Security guards, pushy reporters, you're living a real-life fairy tale, Nia. This isn't a fairy tale, Nia said tiredly. It's a nightmare. She went to the window and peeked through the curtains. More reporters had gathered outside her building, some with cameras, others with microphones, all waiting for a glimpse of Sebastien Leclerc's mysterious wife. I can't stay here, she realized aloud. I'll never get any work done with reporters banging on my door every 5 minutes. You could stay with me and Martin, Desiree offered. Nia gave her cousin a skeptical look. The same cousin who gave my phone number to 5 reporters. Desiree had the grace to look embarrassed. Okay, fair point. Nia's phone chimed with another text from Sebastian. James just called. There was an incident with a reporter at your door? Are you okay? Nia typed back, I'm fine, your security handled it, but I can't stay here. Sebastian's reply was immediate. The penthouse is yours, or the lakehouse, whatever you prefer. James is on his way with the new phone. He can take you wherever you want to go. Nia stared at the message, weighing her options. She couldn't stay in her apartment with reporters camped outside. She couldn't go to Desiree's. A hotel would just mean more public exposure. That left Sebastian's offers, his penthouse in the city or the lakehouse upstate. What are you going to do? Desiree asked, watching Nia's face. Nia took a deep breath and typed, Tell James I'll be ready in 30 minutes. I'll take the lakehouse. Sebastian's reply took longer this time. Finally, I understand. James will bring you everything you need. The house is fully stocked. Stay as long as you like. And Nia, thank you for trusting me enough to accept my help. Nia put the phone down and turned to Desiree. I need to pack. Where are you going? Desiree asked, following Nia to her bedroom. Sebastian has a lake house upstate. No one knows about it. I can work there in peace until this dies down. Desiree's eyes widened. And will he be there too? No, Nia said firmly, pulling a suitcase from her closet. I'm going alone. Are you sure that's what you want? Desiree asked, sitting on the edge of Nia's bed. Nia paused in the act of taking clothes from her dresser. What do you mean? I mean, Desiree said carefully, that maybe this is a chance to figure out what you really want. You've been living in limbo for 2 years, Nia. Not really married, but not really single either. I've been perfectly happy on my own, Nia protested. Have you? Desiree challenged gently. Because from where I'm sitting, you've been hiding. In this tiny apartment, in your books, in your work. Maybe it's time to stop hiding and make a real decision. Nia didn't answer, but her cousin's words struck a chord. Had she been hiding, not just from Sebastian and his world, but from life itself? Just think about it, Desiree said, standing up. I should go. Let you pack in peace. But call me when you get there, okay? Let me know you're safe. After Desiree left, Nia finished packing quickly. Just the essentials, clothes, toiletries, her laptop, and a few of her favorite books. As she was zipping up her suitcase, her doorbell rang again. This time when she checked the peephole, she saw James, Sebastian's driver, standing there. She opened the door. Mrs. Leclerc, he greeted her with a respectful nod. I've brought your new phone. Are you ready to leave? Yes, Nia said, gesturing to her suitcase. Just let me grab my purse and laptop bag. There's a service elevator we can use, James told her as he picked up her suitcase, to avoid the reporters out front. Thank you, Nia said gratefully. James led her through the building to a service entrance at the back. A sleek black SUV with tinted windows waited there, the engine running. The drive to the lake house will take about 2 hours, James informed her as he held the door open for her. There's water and snacks in the console if you need them. Once they were on the road, heading out of the city, Nia felt some of the tension leave her body. She leaned back against the comfortable leather seat and closed her eyes. Mrs. Leclerc? James's voice broke into her thoughts. Mr. Leclerc asked me to give you this once we were away from the apartment. He handed her a small velvet box. Nia took it hesitantly, unsure what to expect. Opening it, she found a simple gold band, her wedding ring, the one she had left behind in New Orleans 2 years ago. There was a small note tucked inside the box. In Sebastian's handwriting, whether you decide to wear it again or not, it has always belonged to you. Nia closed the box and slipped it into her purse, her heart too full of conflicting emotions to process what it meant that Sebastian had kept her ring all this time. As the city gave way to suburbs and then to the lush greenery of upstate New York, Nia gazed out the window thinking about Desiree's words. Had she been hiding these past 2 years? And if so, what was she hiding from? The fear of losing herself in Sebastian's world was real. But was it possible she had been using that fear as an excuse to avoid risking her heart again? The SUV turned onto a narrow road that wound through thick forest. After a few miles, they passed through a gate and continued up a tree-lined drive. When they emerged from the trees, Nia caught her breath. The lake house was a beautiful 2-story cabin made of stone and timber, perched on the edge of a pristine lake. Mountains rose in the distance, and the afternoon sun sparkled on the water. Here we are, Mrs. Leclerc, James said, pulling up to the front of the house. Let me get your bags. Nia stepped out of the car, breathing in the clean mountain air. The only sounds were birds singing and the gentle lapping of water against the shore. No traffic, no city noise, and most importantly, no reporters. The house is fully stocked, James told her as he carried her bags to the door. There's food in the fridge and pantry. The Wi-Fi password is on the kitchen counter. Cell reception is spotty, but the landline works if you need to make calls. He unlocked the door and handed her the key. Mr. Leclerc said to tell you that no one will disturb you here. The property is private and secure. Thank you, James, Nia said sincerely. There's one more thing, James added, reaching into his pocket. Mr. Leclerc asked me to give you this. It's the number for the caretaker, who lives about a mile down the road. If you need anything at all, just call him. Nia took the card James offered. Will you be staying nearby? James shook his head. No, ma'am, I'll be heading back to the city, but I can return at any time if you need me. Just call the number on the card, and I'll come right away. After James left, Nia explored the house. It was beautiful but not extravagant, much like the apartment where Sebastian had lived in New Orleans. The furniture was comfortable and well made, the decor simple and elegant. Floor-to-ceiling windows in the living room offered a stunning view of the lake. The kitchen was modern and well-equipped. True to James's word, the refrigerator and pantry were fully stocked with food. On the counter sat a vase of fresh flowers with a note. Welcome. I hope you find the peace you're looking for here. SL. Upstairs, Nia found a master bedroom with the same breathtaking view of the lake, a smaller guest room, and a home office complete with a new laptop and printer. On the desk in the office was another note. I thought you might need these for your work. The laptop is secure and untraceable, in case you're worried about privacy. Nia smiled despite herself. He really had thought of everything. After unpacking her clothes in the master bedroom, she went outside to the deck that wrapped around the house. A gentle breeze ruffled the surface of the lake, and the late afternoon sun bathed everything in golden light. For the first time since the gala, Nia felt like she could breathe. Here, away from the city and the media frenzy, she could think clearly about what she wanted, about who she wanted to be. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the water, Nia reached into her pocket and pulled out the small velvet box. She opened it and took out the gold band, turning it in her fingers, watching how it caught the fading light. 2 years ago, when Sebastian had placed this ring on her finger in that small New Orleans courthouse, she had believed they would spend their lives together. Then she had discovered his lie, and everything had fallen apart. But now, looking back, she wondered, had she overreacted? Yes, he had hidden his true identity from her, but hadn't everything else been real? The way he looked at her, the way he listened when she spoke, the way he held her at night, none of that had been a lie. As darkness fell over the lake, Nia made a decision. She would use this time alone to truly think about what she wanted. No more hiding, no more running. It was time to decide whether to embrace her life as Nia Wallace, independent book editor, or to take a chance on being Nia Leclerc, with all the complications that came with that name. She slipped the ring back into its box and went inside, closing the door on the night and the questions that still had no answers. 3 days at the lakehouse had done wonders for Nia's peace of mind. Away from the chaos of the city and the constant harassment of reporters, she found herself able to think clearly, for the first time since the night of the gala. Each morning, she woke to sunlight streaming through the windows and the gentle sound of water lapping at the shore. She would make coffee and sit on the deck, watching the mist rise from the lake as she planned her day. With the secure laptop Sebastian had provided, she was able to continue her editing work without interruption. In the afternoons, she would take walks along the shore, the fresh air and quiet solitude helping to clear her mind. On the 4th morning, as Nia sat on the deck with her coffee, her new phone rang. The screen showed Bash. Her heart skipped a beat as she answered. "Hello? Good morning." Sebastian's deep voice came through the line. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything." "No," Nia said, settling back in her chair. "Just having my coffee." "On the deck?" he asked. She smiled despite herself. "Yes. How did you know?" "Because that's where I always sit when I'm there," Sebastian replied. "The view of the mountains at sunrise is worth waking up early for." "It is," Nia agreed, looking out at the scenery. "It's beautiful here, Bash. Thank you for letting me stay." "The house is as much yours as mine," Sebastian said. "We're still married, remember?" Nia didn't respond to that. Instead, she asked, "How are things in the city? Has the media frenzy died down?" "Somewhat," Sebastian said. "My PR team issued a statement asking for privacy, and most of the legitimate news outlets are respecting that. The tabloids are still running wild with speculation, but that was to be expected. What kind of speculation? Nia asked, not sure she wanted to know. The usual nonsense, Sebastian said dismissively. Secret children, hidden fortune. You married me for money. I married you as a publicity stunt before the company goes public. Nothing worth repeating. Nia sighed. I'm sorry you have to deal with all this. I'm not the one who had to flee to a lake house to escape reporters, Sebastian pointed out. I should be apologizing to you. You have, Nia reminded him. Several times now. There was a pause, then Sebastian asked, How's your work going? Is the laptop working out okay? Yes, it's perfect, Nia said. I've actually been more productive here than I was in my apartment. No distractions. Good, Sebastian sounded pleased. Listen, Nia, I'm calling because there's something I need to tell you. Nia tensed. What is it? My mother is flying in from Paris tomorrow, Sebastian said. Someone told her about the gala announcement, and now she wants to meet you. Your mother. Nia's grip tightened on her phone. You told her about me? I had to, Sebastian explained. She saw it on the news. She was surprised, to say the least, that I've been married for 2 years without telling her. What did you tell her? Nia asked. The truth, Sebastian said simply. That we met in New Orleans, fell in love, got married, and have been living separate lives since you found out who I really was. And she wants to meet me, Nia repeated, trying to process this. What did you tell her about that? I told her you were staying at the lake house and that I would ask if you were willing to meet her, Sebastian said. I won't force you, Nia. If you're not ready, I'll make excuses. Nia bit her lip, thinking. Meeting Sebastian's mother meant taking another step into his world, the very thing she had been afraid of 2 years ago. What's she like? Nia asked. Sophisticated, Sebastian said after a moment's thought. Intelligent, strong-willed. She can be intimidating if you don't know her, but she's actually quite warm once you get past her defenses. So she's like you, Nia observed. Sebastian laughed. I suppose she is. I never thought about it that way. Nia took a deep breath. When would she want to meet? She suggested dinner tomorrow night, Sebastian said. At the lake house, if that's okay with you. I thought it might be more comfortable for you than a restaurant in the city. Would you be there too? Nia asked, unsure whether she wanted him to be or not. If you want me to be, Sebastian replied. Or I could drop her off and pick her up later. Nia thought about it. The idea of facing Sebastian's mother alone was daunting. I think it would be better if you were there. Okay, Sebastian agreed. So that's a yes? You'll meet her? Nia took another deep breath. Yes, I'll meet her. Thank you, Sebastian said, and she could hear the relief in his voice. I'll make all the arrangements. You won't have to do anything except be there. Bash, Nia said before he could hang up. What should I wear? I didn't exactly pack for meeting my mother-in-law. Sebastian's chuckle warmed her. Whatever you feel comfortable in. My mother cares more about substance than style. After they hung up, Nia sat staring at the lake, anxiety churning in her stomach. Meeting Sebastian's mother felt like a significant step, one she wasn't sure she was ready for. But she had agreed, and now she had to prepare herself. The rest of the day passed quickly as Nia tried to focus on her work while pushing away thoughts of the impending dinner. That evening, as she was trying to decide which of her limited wardrobe options would be best for meeting a French oil heiress, there was a knock at the door. Cautiously, Nia approached and looked through the peephole. A young woman stood there holding several garment bags. Mrs. Leclerc? The woman called through the door. My name is Tessa. Mr. Leclerc sent me with some things for you. Nia opened the door. What things? Tessa smiled brightly. May I come in? These are a bit heavy. Nia stepped back, allowing the young woman to enter. Tessa laid the garment bags carefully across the couch. Mr. Leclerc thought you might want some options for dinner tomorrow night, Tessa explained, unzipping one of the bags to reveal an elegant blue dress. He chose these himself. Nia stared at the dress, then at the other bags. He sent you all the way up here with clothes for me. He wanted to make sure you had everything you needed, Tessa said, as if this were the most normal thing in the world. I also brought some accessories. She held up a smaller bag. Shoes, jewelry, that sort of thing. This is... Nia trailed off, not sure whether to be touched or annoyed. Too much? Tessa asked with an understanding smile. Mr. Leclerc said you might say that. He told me to tell you that if you don't want any of these things, that's completely fine. He just wanted you to have options. Nia ran her hand over the blue dress. The fabric was clearly expensive, but the style was simple and elegant, exactly what she would have chosen for herself if money were no object. "How did he know my size?" she asked. Tessa looked slightly embarrassed. "He may have had Maria check your closet when she visited your apartment." Of course he did, Nia thought. Sebastian always thought of everything. "Would you like to try them on?" Tessa asked. "I can help with any alterations if needed." "You're a seamstress?" Nia asked. "Among other things," Tessa said with a smile. "I'm Mr. Leclerc's personal shopper and stylist. I help with wardrobe emergencies." "And I'm a wardrobe emergency?" Nia couldn't help but laugh. Mr. Leclerc's words were, "Make sure my wife has everything she needs to feel confident tomorrow night," Tessa said. "He seemed to think you might be nervous about meeting his mother." "He was right about that," Nia admitted. "Well, let's see if we can help with that," Tessa said, unzipping another garment bag. "The right outfit can be like armor." For the next hour, Nia tried on dresses while Tessa offered advice and made minor adjustments. By the time Tessa left, Nia had selected the blue dress and a pair of simple but elegant heels. She had refused the jewelry, preferring to wear her own modest pieces. As she walked Tessa to the door, Nia said, "Thank you for your help, and please thank Sebastian for me." "Of course, Mrs. Leclerc," Tessa replied. "And if I may say so, Mrs. Leclerc Sr. will be impressed. You have natural elegance." After Tessa left, Nia stood looking at the blue dress hanging on the bedroom door. It was exactly the kind of thing she would have chosen for herself if she'd had Sebastian's budget, which made her wonder, how well did he really know her? Better than she had given him credit for, it seemed. The next day passed in a blur of nervous preparation. Nia tried to work, but found herself checking the clock every few minutes. At 4 o'clock she gave up and went to take a shower and get ready. By 6, she was dressed in the blue dress, her hair swept up in a simple but elegant style. She wore the heels Tessa had brought and her own small pearl earrings, a gift from her grandmother when she graduated college. At precisely 6:30, she heard a car coming up the drive. She went to the window and saw Sebastian's sleek black car pull up in front of the house. Sebastian got out first, looking handsome in a dark suit, then moved to open the passenger door. A tall, elegant woman emerged. Even from a distance, Nia could see where Sebastian got his striking looks. His mother had the same regal bearing, the same confident grace as she moved. Nia took a deep breath and went to open the front door. She stood in the doorway, watching as Sebastian and his mother approached. "Nia," Sebastian said when they reached her, his eyes taking in her appearance with clear appreciation. "You look beautiful." "Thank you," she said softly, then turned to his mother. "Mrs. Leclerc, it's a pleasure to meet you." Sebastian's mother was indeed intimidating, with sharp cheekbones, impeccable makeup, and an assessing gaze that seemed to take in everything about Nia in one glance. But then she smiled, and her face transformed into something warm and surprisingly kind. "Please call me Vivienne," she said, taking Nia's hand in both of hers. Her accent was French, but subtle. "I have been looking forward to meeting the woman who captured my son's heart." "Please come in," Nia said, stepping back to let them enter. Sebastian carried a bottle of wine and what appeared to be a shopping bag. "I brought dinner," he explained. "All your favorites from that Italian place in the village." "You remembered?" Nia asked, surprised. They had visited the small restaurant only once during a weekend trip 2 years ago. "I remember everything about our time together," Sebastian said simply. He moved past her to the kitchen, leaving Nia alone with his mother in the living room. "This is a beautiful home," Vivienne said, looking around. "Sebastian says it's one of his favorites." "It's very peaceful," Nia agreed. "I can see why he likes it." Vivienne turned her assessing gaze back to Nia. "My son tells me you're an editor. Books, yes?" "Yes," Nia nodded. "I work with authors to help them polish their manuscripts before publication." "Interesting work," Vivienne commented. "You must be very good with words." "I try to be," Nia said. "And yet," Vivienne continued, "my son says that when you discovered who he really was, you left without much discussion. Is that correct?" Nia felt her cheeks warm. "It's a bit more complicated than that." "I'm sure it is," Vivienne agreed. "Please understand, I'm not judging you. I simply want to understand the woman my son has been in love with for 2 years. Before Nia could respond, Sebastian returned from the kitchen. "Dinner's ready," he announced. "I've set it up on the deck. The sunset is too beautiful to miss." Dinner was surprisingly pleasant. Sebastian kept the conversation flowing, telling stories about his childhood in France and his work with his tech company. Vivienne added her own anecdotes, many of which painted Sebastian in an endearingly human light. "He was always building things," Vivienne told Nia, as they enjoyed dessert, "taking apart my kitchen appliances to see how they worked." Once he disassembled my entire telephone because he thought he could improve it. Could you? Nia asked Sebastian with a smile. I was 8, Sebastian shrugged. But yes, I made it better. After I put it back together, it had clearer sound. That's when I knew he would do something remarkable with his life, Vivian said, her pride evident. He's always had a gift for seeing how to make things better. As the evening progressed, Nia found herself relaxing. Vivian was intimidating, yes, but also genuine and surprisingly funny. She clearly adored her son but wasn't blind to his faults. He can be stubborn, she told Nia at one point when Sebastian had gone inside to make coffee. And sometimes he thinks he knows what's best for everyone. But his heart is good. He wants to make the people he loves happy. I know, Nia said softly. Vivienne studied her thoughtfully. May I ask you something personal, Nia? Of course. Do you still love my son? The directness of the question caught Nia off guard. She looked out at the darkening lake, gathering her thoughts. I never stopped loving him, she admitted quietly. I left because I was afraid of losing myself in his world. I grew up with very little, raised by my grandmother after my parents died. I learned to be self-sufficient, to rely only on myself. The idea of suddenly being thrust into wealth and privilege, of being seen only as Sebastian's wife rather than as my own person, it terrified me. Vivian nodded slowly. I understand that fear better than you might think. I was born into wealth and privilege, yes, but as a woman in the oil industry, I have spent my life fighting to be seen as more than just a pretty face or someone's daughter or wife. She reached across the table and took Nia's hand. But let me tell you something about my son. He has never wanted a trophy or an accessory. The women who have pursued him for his money or his name, and there have been many, never held his interest. You clearly did something none of them could do. You saw him for himself. Sebastian returned with the coffee before Nia could respond. He set the tray on the table and began pouring. What are you two talking about? He asked, glancing between them. I was just telling Nia how refreshing it is to meet a woman who isn't throwing herself at you for your money, Vivian said smoothly. Sebastian laughed. Mother, always so tactful. I'm too old for games, Vivian said with a dismissive wave. Life is too short to dance around the truth. After coffee, Sebastian excused himself to take a business call, leaving Nia alone with Vivian again. He's giving us time to talk privately, Vivian observed with a knowing smile. He's not as subtle as he thinks he is. Nia smiled. No, he isn't. Nia, Vivian's voice grew serious, I want to tell you something. When Sebastian called to tell me he was married, had been married for 2 years without a word to me, I was shocked, then angry. But when he explained the circumstances, I understood why he had kept it secret. You did? Nia asked, surprised. Of course, Vivian nodded. He was protecting you, and in his own way, he was protecting your marriage. By keeping it private, he was allowing it to be just about the two of you, not about his name or his money. Nia had never thought of it that way before. I always assumed he kept it secret because he was ashamed of me, she admitted, that I wasn't sophisticated enough for his world. Vivian actually laughed at that. My dear, if you knew how little Sebastian cares for his world, as you call it, the parties, the social obligations, the constant scrutiny, he tolerates it because it's necessary for business, but he hates it. He does? Nia asked, remembering how at ease Sebastian had seemed at the gala. Oh yes, Vivian assured her. Why do you think he escaped to New Orleans? Why do you think he pretended to be someone else when he met you? He was trying to find something real in a world of fakery and pretense. She leaned forward, her eyes intent on Nia's face. And he found it with you. Do you have any idea how rare that is? Nia didn't know how to respond. The way Vivian described it made her see her relationship with Sebastian in a new light. I'm not telling you what to do, Vivian continued. Whether you decide to embrace your marriage or end it is entirely your choice. But I wanted you to know that my son is a better man when he speaks of you. There's a light in his eyes that I haven't seen in 2 years. Sebastian returned then, ending their private conversation. Sorry about that, he said. Unavoidable business matter. It's getting late, Vivian said, standing. I should be heading back to the city. You're welcome to stay the night, Nia offered, surprising herself. There's a guest room upstairs. That's very kind, Vivian smiled. But I have meetings in the morning. Another time, perhaps. As Sebastian walked his mother to the car, Nia began clearing the dinner dishes. Her mind was spinning with everything Vivian had said. A few minutes later, Sebastian returned to the kitchen. Need help with those? He asked, gesturing to the dishes. Sure. Nia handed him a towel. You wash, I'll dry. They worked in companionable silence for a few minutes, falling into the familiar rhythm they had established during their brief time living together in New Orleans. "Your mother is not what I expected," Nia said finally. "In a good way, I hope?" Sebastian glanced at her. "Yes," Nia nodded. "She's formidable, but kind." "That's a good description of her," Sebastian agreed. "What did you two talk about while I was on my call?" "You," Nia said simply. "Should I be worried?" Sebastian asked with a small smile. "No," Nia assured him. "She loves you very much." "I know." Sebastian handed her the last plate. "She likes you too, by the way. I could tell." "How?" Nia asked, curious. "She used your name," Sebastian explained. "When my mother doesn't like someone, she avoids using their name entirely." Nia laughed. "That's a strange habit." "She has many strange habits," Sebastian said fondly, "but good instincts about people. She's rarely wrong." They finished the dishes, and Sebastian helped Nia put everything away. When they were done, an awkward silence fell between them. "I should probably go," Sebastian said finally. "It's getting late." "Where are you staying?" Nia asked. "Not driving all the way back to the city tonight, I hope?" "There's a small inn in the village," Sebastian told her. "I have a room there." Nia nodded, relieved he wouldn't be driving the dark mountain roads at night. "Thank you for dinner, and for bringing your mother. I'm glad I met her." "She's glad she met you too," Sebastian said. "She told me so when I walked her to the car." He moved toward the door, then stopped and turned back. "Nia, I've been thinking. About us. About the situation we're in." "What about it?" Nia asked cautiously. "I know I put you in an impossible position that night at the gala," Sebastian said, "and I know the media attention has been overwhelming. But I want you to know that whatever you decide, whether you want to give our marriage another chance or go through with the annulment, I'll support you." "Bash, please let me finish," he interrupted gently. "These past 2 years without you have been empty. I've dated, yes, been photographed with other women, but none of them were you. None of them ever could be." He took a step closer to her. "I'm not asking you to make a decision tonight. I'm just asking you to think about whether what we had, what we could still have, is worth fighting for." Nia felt tears prick her eyes. "I have been thinking about it, ever since the gala, ever since you said my name across that crowded room, and everything else fell away." "And?" Sebastian's voice was barely above a whisper. "And I'm still thinking," Nia said honestly, "but being here talking to your mother, being with you tonight, but it's helping me see things more clearly." Sebastian nodded, acceptance in his eyes. "That's all I can ask for." He moved to the door. "Good night, Nia." "Good night, Bash," she replied softly. After he left, Nia went out to the deck and sat looking at the moonlight on the lake. Her conversation with Vivian had given her a new perspective on Sebastian and their relationship. Maybe walking away 2 years ago had been a mistake. Maybe they could have worked through their issues if she had been brave enough to stay and fight for what they had. The question now was whether she was brave enough to fight for it after 2 years apart. As she sat there in the quiet darkness, Nia reached into her pocket and pulled out the small velvet box she had been carrying since she arrived at the lakehouse. Opening it, she took out the gold band, her wedding ring, and after a moment's hesitation slipped it onto her finger. It still fit perfectly. The morning after dinner with Vivian, Nia woke early. She made coffee and took it out to the deck, where she sat watching the sunrise over the lake. The gold band on her finger caught the light, glinting in the early morning sun. She had worn it to bed, wanting to see how it felt to be Sebastian's wife again, even if just in this small, private way. It had felt right somehow, natural, as if the ring belonged on her finger. But wearing a ring was the easy part. The question was whether she was ready to fully embrace everything that came with being Sebastian Leclerc's wife, the public scrutiny, the wealth, the privilege, the responsibility. Her phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. It was Desiree. "Hello?" Nia answered. "Finally!" Desiree exclaimed. "I've been trying to reach you for days. How are you? How's the lake house? Is Sebastian there with you? Are you two back together?" Nia laughed at the barrage of questions. "Slow down, Desiree. One question at a time." "Fine," Desiree huffed. "Are you and Sebastian back together?" "It's complicated," Nia said. "We're talking, trying to figure things out." "Well, you'd better figure them out soon," Desiree said, her voice turning serious. "Have you seen the news this morning?" "No," Nia frowned. "What news?" "There's a story about you in Style and Society magazine," Desiree told her. "That reporter who came to your apartment, Vivian Parker, she wrote a whole article claiming you're a gold digger who trapped Sebastian into marriage." "What?" Nia sat up straight, nearly spilling her coffee. It gets worse, Desiree continued. She quotes an anonymous source close to you, saying you've been planning this for years, that you deliberately sought Sebastian out in New Orleans because you knew who he was all along. That's ridiculous, Nia exclaimed. I had no idea who he was when we met. I know that, Desiree said, but the public doesn't. The article is going viral, Nia. People are eating it up. Nia's stomach churned with anxiety. What anonymous source would say such things about me? I don't have enemies. There was a pause before Desiree said, I hate to say this, but it kind of sounds like me. What? Nia couldn't believe what she was hearing. Not that I said those things, Desiree clarified quickly, but the article mentions that the source is a relative who's known you since childhood, and some of the quotes, they're twisting things I might have said about you, like how you've always been practical about money because you grew up with so little. In the article, they make it sound like you're calculating and mercenary. But you never spoke to this reporter, did you? Nia asked, already knowing the answer. Well, Desiree hesitated. She called me after the gala, asked a few questions about you. I didn't think it was a big deal. I certainly never said you were after Sebastian's money. Nia closed her eyes, trying to stay calm. What exactly did you tell her, Desiree? Just basic stuff about your background. How your parents died when you were young. How Grandma raised you to be independent. How proud we all were when you put yourself through college. Desiree paused. And maybe I mentioned how you always said you wanted security in life. But I meant emotional security, not financial. Desiree, how could you talk to a reporter about me? Nia asked, hurt evident in her voice. I'm sorry, Desiree said, and she sounded genuinely remorseful. I didn't think she would twist my words like this. She seemed so nice on the phone. She's a tabloid reporter, Nia said flatly. Her job is to create drama where there is none. What are you going to do? Desiree asked. I don't know, Nia admitted. I need to talk to Sebastian. He needs to know about this. After hanging up with Desiree, Nia immediately called Sebastian. When he didn't answer, she sent a text. Need to talk to you ASAP. There's an article in Style and Society magazine about me. It's bad. While waiting for his response, Nia went online to find the article. It was worse than Desiree had described. The headline blared, The Gold Digger Who Snared a Billionaire. The Truth About Nia Wallace. The article painted her as a calculating opportunist who had deliberately sought out Sebastian in New Orleans, pretending not to know who he was. It claimed she had sources confirming Nia had researched wealthy bachelors extensively before setting her sights on Sebastian. Worst of all, it suggested that she had left Sebastian after their courthouse wedding, not because she discovered his true identity, but because she was holding out for a better settlement, implying she had always planned to return when the time was right to claim her fair share of his fortune. Nia felt physically ill reading the lies about herself. How could anyone believe such things? But judging by the comments section, many people did believe it. The article fed into every stereotype about women who married wealthy men. Her phone rang. It was Sebastian. I just saw the article, he said without preamble. It's all lies, Nia. Everyone who knows you will see that. But most people don't know me, Nia pointed out, fighting back tears. They'll believe what they read. We'll fix this, Sebastian promised, his voice firm. My lawyers are already on it. We'll sue for defamation. That could take months, Nia said. And even if we win, the damage will be done. What do you want to do? Sebastian asked. Just say the word and I'll make it happen. Nia took a deep breath. I need to tell my side of the story. The truth. Are you sure? Sebastian sounded surprised. You've always valued your privacy. I still do, Nia said, but I won't let someone else define who I am to the world. If I'm going to be in the public eye as your wife, then I want people to know the real me, not some tabloid version. There was a pause before Sebastian said softly, Does that mean you're thinking of staying my wife? Nia looked down at the gold band on her finger. I'm thinking about it, but this situation doesn't make it any easier. I understand, Sebastian said. About telling your story, I can arrange an interview with a respected journalist, someone who will be fair and accurate. When? Nia asked. Today, if you want, Sebastian replied. I can have someone come to the lakehouse this afternoon. No, Nia decided. Not here. This place feels like a sanctuary. I don't want to associate it with this ugliness. Where then? Nia thought for a moment. Your penthouse in the city. It's secure, private, and if we're going to present ourselves as a couple, even if we're still figuring things out, then it makes sense to be seen together. Okay, Sebastian agreed. I'll make the arrangements. And Nia, thank you for trusting me with this. You're the only one I do trust right now, Nia admitted. After hanging up, Nia went upstairs to pack. As she was folding clothes into her suitcase, her phone rang again. It was an unknown number. Normally she would have ignored it, but given the situation, she decided to answer. Hello? Mrs. Leclerc? An unfamiliar male voice came through the line. This is David Reynolds from the New York Journal. I'm hoping to get your comment on the Style and Society article. How did you get this number? Nia demanded. That's not important, the reporter dismissed her question. What is important is giving you a chance to tell your side. Is it true you knew who Sébastien Leclerc was when you met him in New Orleans? No, Nia said firmly, and I won't be commenting further at this time. But surely you want to defend yourself against these accusations. Nia ended the call and immediately blocked the number. Within minutes, her phone rang again. Another unknown number. She declined it without answering. Text messages began coming in from numbers she didn't recognize, all asking for comments on the article. Nia turned off her phone in frustration. She finished packing quickly, then went downstairs to wait for James, who Sébastien had said would arrive within the hour, to drive her back to the city. When James arrived, Nia was relieved to see that the SUV had darkly tinted windows. There are reporters at the gate, James informed her as he loaded her luggage into the car. Mr. Leclerc has instructed me to take the back road out. Thank you, James, Nia said gratefully. The drive back to the city was tense. Nia used the secure tablet Sébastien had sent with James to read more coverage of the Style and Society article. The story had been picked up by other outlets, each adding their own spin. Some were skeptical of the claims, pointing out the lack of concrete evidence. Others embellished the story even further. By the time they reached the city, Nia was both angry and determined. She had spent 2 years building her reputation as an editor, earning the respect of authors and publishers. She wouldn't let a tabloid destroy that with lies. James took her directly to the underground parking garage of Sébastien's building, avoiding the reporters who had gathered out front. Security escorted her to the private elevator that led directly to the penthouse. Sébastien was waiting when the elevator doors opened. He looked tired, worry lines etched around his eyes, but when he saw her, his face softened. Nia, he said, stepping forward as if to embrace her, then stopping himself. Thank you for coming. I didn't have much choice, Nia pointed out, stepping past him into the penthouse. I couldn't stay at the lakehouse with reporters stalking the gates. I'm sorry about all this, Sébastien said, following her. My PR team is working on a statement condemning the article and threatening legal action against Style and Society. What good will that do? Nia asked, turning to face him. People will still believe what they want to believe. Not if they hear the truth from you, Sébastien said. I've arranged an interview with Catherine Powell from the Times. She's known for her integrity. She'll be here at 4. Nia glanced at her watch. It was just past noon. That gives me a few hours to prepare. Can I get you anything? Sébastien asked. Food? Coffee? Coffee would be good, Nia nodded. And maybe something to eat. I left before breakfast. While Sébastien went to the kitchen, Nia moved to the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city. From this height, the people on the streets below looked like tiny ants, going about their lives without a care for the drama unfolding in hers. Sébastien returned with a tray holding coffee and sandwiches. I had the kitchen stocked when I knew you were coming, he explained, setting the tray on the coffee table. Thank you, Nia said, taking a seat on the couch. Have you seen the article? Yes, Sébastien's jaw tightened. It's garbage. No one who knows you would believe a word of it. But most people don't know me, Nia repeated her earlier point. To them, I'm just a nobody who somehow caught a billionaire. It's not a big leap to think I must have had an agenda. Sébastien sat beside her, careful to maintain some distance between them. You're not a nobody, Nia. You never have been. Nia took a sip of her coffee, gathering her thoughts. I've been thinking a lot about why I left New Orleans, she said finally. About why I couldn't accept who you really were. Sébastien remained silent, giving her space to continue. It wasn't just about the lie, Nia admitted. It was about what that lie represented. You have this whole world of wealth and privilege that I know nothing about. A world where people judge you by what you wear, who you know, how much money you have. A world I've never felt comfortable in either, Sébastien pointed out. But you know how to navigate it, Nia countered. I don't. I was afraid of embarrassing you, of not fitting in, of being seen as exactly what that article is claiming I am, someone who doesn't belong. You belong wherever you choose to be, Sébastien said firmly. And the only person whose opinion should matter to you is your own. He paused, then added softly, and maybe mine, A little bit. That made Nia smile despite herself. Your opinion does matter to me, Bash. It always has. Then believe me when I say that you are the strongest, most genuine person I have ever known, Sebastian said, his eyes intense. You don't need to change for my world. If anything, my world needs to change for you. Before Nia could respond, Sebastian's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and frowned. It's my lawyer. I should take this. While Sebastian took his call in the other room, Nia ate one of the sandwiches and tried to organize her thoughts for the upcoming interview. What would she say? How much of their private life was she willing to share? Sebastian returned, his expression grim. That was my lawyer. Vivian Parker is claiming she has evidence to back up her article. What evidence? Nia asked, alarmed. There can't be any evidence of something that never happened? She says she has emails, Sebastian told her. Emails supposedly from you to a friend, discussing your plan to land a rich husband. That's ridiculous, Nia exclaimed. I've never written such emails. Of course you haven't, Sebastian agreed. They're obviously fake. But in the court of public opinion, the damage could be done before we can prove they're forgeries. Nia felt a fresh wave of panic. What do we do? We stick to the plan, Sebastian said calmly. You tell your story to Catherine Powell. We counter lies with truth. By the time Catherine Powell arrived, Nia had changed into one of the outfits Tessa had brought to the lakehouse, a simple but elegant grey dress that made her feel both comfortable and confident. Catherine Powell was a tall, no-nonsense woman in her 50s, with sharp eyes and a reputation for fairness. She shook Nia's hand firmly, then Sebastian's. Thank you for agreeing to this interview, she said as they settled in the living room. I want to be clear from the outset. I'm interested in the truth, not sensationalism. I've read the Style and Society article, and I have questions about their journalistic standards. That makes two of us, Sebastian said dryly. Mrs. Leclerc, Catherine turned to Nia. I understand you and Mr. Leclerc have been legally married for 2 years, but have been living separate lives for most of that time. Is that correct? Yes, Nia nodded. We met in New Orleans, where I was working as a tutor at a community center. Sebastian came in needing help with some writing for his architectural plans, or so he said at the time. He didn't reveal his true identity, Catherine asked. No, Nia confirmed. He introduced himself as Bash, a traveling architect. We fell in love quickly, married at the courthouse, and were blissfully happy until I discovered who he really was. And how did that discovery come about? I found a letter from his lawyer, Nia explained. It was addressed to Sebastian Leclerc and referenced his overseas investments. When I confronted him, he admitted the truth. Why did you leave? Catherine asked directly. Nia took a deep breath. Because I felt betrayed. Not just by the lie, but by what it represented. I was afraid of losing myself in his world, of becoming just an extension of him, rather than my own person. And yet, you never filed for annulment, Catherine observed. Why not? Nia glanced at Sebastian, who was watching her intently. I told myself I was waiting to be sure I was making the right decision, but the truth is, I couldn't bring myself to legally end a marriage that, in my heart, still felt real. Mr. Leclerc, Catherine turned to Sebastian, why did you conceal your identity when you met Nia? Because I wanted someone to see me for who I am, not what I have, Sebastian replied without hesitation. My whole life, people have wanted to be close to me because of my name, my money, my connections. With Nia, it was different. She challenged me, made me defend my ideas, didn't care about impressing me. And why did you announce your marriage at the charity gala after 2 years of secrecy? Catherine asked. Sebastian's expression hardened slightly. Because I saw how those people were treating Nia, looking down on her because of her simple dress, her lack of designer labels. I couldn't stand by and watch the woman I love be disrespected. The woman you love, Catherine repeated. Present tense. Yes, Sebastian said firmly. I have never stopped loving Nia. Not for a single day in the past 2 years. Catherine turned back to Nia. And your feelings, Mrs. Leclerc? Nia felt the weight of the question. This was the moment to be completely honest. With Catherine, with the world, and with herself. I never stopped loving him either, she admitted softly. I left because I was afraid. Afraid of his world. Afraid of losing my identity. Afraid of not being enough. But the truth is, walking away from Sebastian was the hardest thing I've ever done. Catherine nodded, making notes. The Style and Society article claims you knew who Sebastian was all along, that you deliberately sought him out in New Orleans. How do you respond to that? It's completely false, Nia said firmly. I had no idea who Sebastian Leclerc was when we met. I didn't follow celebrity news or business magazines. I was focused on my work, on building my career as an editor. And the claim that you left him to hold out for a better settlement? Absurd. Nia shook her head. I never asked Sebastian for anything when I left. Not money, not property, nothing. I walked away with exactly what I came with, my clothes and my books. It's true, Sebastian confirmed. In fact, I've tried numerous times over the past 2 years to provide financial support, which Nia has consistently refused. The interview continued for over an hour, with Catherine asking detailed questions about their relationship, their time apart, and their current status. Finally, she asked the question Nia had been dreading. So what happens now? Are you two reconciling? Proceeding with the annulment? Living separately as a legally married couple? Nia looked at Sebastian, who was careful to keep his expression neutral. This was her decision to make. Nia hesitated, then decided on honesty. We're figuring that out. The media attention has complicated things, but we're talking, really talking, for the first time in 2 years. And that's enough for now, Sebastian added, his voice gentle. After the interview, Catherine thanked them both and promised a fair article. It will run in tomorrow's paper, she told them. Front page of the style section. When Catherine was gone, Nia collapsed onto the couch, emotionally drained. That was harder than I expected. You were amazing, Sebastian said, sitting beside her. Honest, articulate, dignified. No one who reads that interview could possibly believe the garbage in style and society. I hope you're right, Nia sighed, but the damage might already be done. We'll get through this, Sebastian promised, together or apart, whatever you decide. But I hope... What? Nia prompted when he trailed off. Sebastian looked at her, vulnerability clear in his eyes. I hope it's together. These past few days with you, even with all the chaos, have reminded me of what I've been missing for 2 years. Nia felt tears prick her eyes. I've missed you too, Bash, more than I allowed myself to admit. Sebastian noticed her hand then, specifically the gold band on her finger. His eyes widened in surprise. You're wearing your ring, he said softly. Nia looked down at her hand, having almost forgotten she was still wearing it. Yes, I put it on last night. I wanted to see how it felt. And how does it feel? Sebastian asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Right, Nia admitted. It feels right. Sebastian reached for her hand, his fingers gently touching the gold band. Does that mean... Nia took a deep breath. It means I'm tired of running from what I want because I'm afraid. It means I want to try again. Really try this time. No secrets, no hiding, no running away when things get hard. Sebastian's face transformed with joy. Are you sure? What about the media attention, my world? I'm still afraid of all that, Nia admitted, but I'm more afraid of living the rest of my life without you. We'll figure out the rest together. Sebastian lifted her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles. Together, he agreed. That's all I've ever wanted. There will be conditions, Nia warned, though she couldn't keep the smile from her face. I need to maintain my own identity, my own career. I won't be just Sebastian Leclerc's wife. You could never be just anything, Sebastian assured her, and I would never want you to be. Your independence, your strength, they're part of why I love you. He moved closer to her on the couch, his eyes never leaving hers. May I kiss my wife? He asked softly. In answer, Nia leaned forward and pressed her lips to his. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, like a first kiss all over again. Then Sebastian's arms went around her, pulling her closer, and the kiss deepened with 2 years of longing finally fulfilled. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Sebastian rested his forehead against hers. Welcome home, Nia, he whispered. I am home, she realized. Wherever you are, that's home. Outside the windows of the penthouse, the city continued its frantic pace. Somewhere, tabloid reporters were still spinning lies. Gossips were still speculating. The world of wealth and privilege that had so intimidated Nia still existed with all its judgments and expectations. But here, in the circle of Sebastian's arms, none of that mattered. They had found each other again. And this time, Nia wasn't running away. As the afternoon sun bathed the penthouse in golden light, Sebastian reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box, different from the one that had held her wedding band. I've been carrying this for 2 years, he said, opening the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring. I bought it the day after our courthouse wedding. I was planning to surprise you with a proper proposal, even though we were already married. Nia stared at the ring, speechless. I know we're already legally married, Sebastian continued, But I want to do this right this time. He slid off the couch onto one knee before her. Nia Wallace, love of my life, woman who challenges me, inspires me, and makes me a better man, will you stay married to me? Will you be my wife not just in law, but in every way that matters? Tears spilled down Nia's cheeks as she nodded. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll stay married to you, Bash. Sebastian slipped the diamond ring onto her finger, where it nestled perfectly alongside the simple gold band. Then he gathered her into his arms again, holding her as if he never intended to let her go. And Nia knew with absolute certainty that she was exactly where she belonged. The end.